Hello students, how are you? Hope so your preparation for the upcoming examinations are going very well. And to make your examination journey more fruitful, we are here with the rapid revision route. Yes, from the name itself, you may have recognized that these batches are a type of revision batches. Yes, rapid revision routes. First of all, I will tell you some features of this rapid revision route. Yes, in this rapid revision route, you are going to get the revision video clips of each chapter separately. Yes. So whichever chapter you want to study or you want to revise, you may directly see the video of that chapter. No need of seeing another videos. If you want to see the video of supply chapter, you may directly go to the supply chapter. If you want to see the video of time of supply, value of supply, you can directly go to that video clips instead of seeing other videos. If you require this video, you can also watch this video. Yes. And one disclaimer for this rapid revision route. Please, the students who have completely studied GST one time in detail. Yes, who have completely studied the GST subject one time in detail should watch these videos. The students who have not even yet seen the subject in detail are requested to keep their eyes away from these video clips. Studied the GST in detail one time in your examination journey can see this rapid revision route. So let us start with this rapid revision route. GST in India, an introduction. When we are studying this, the common word, the first word we have in our eyes is tax, tax. Yes, the first word tax. So, what do you mean by the word tax? But the tax. Earlier, when there used to be a kingdom of a king, a regime of a king, at that time, king used to charge the public living in the society, in the kingdom, a tax by the name Hindi word kar. Yes, there was a Hindi word kar. King used to charge kar from the public in the kingdom, and in return he used to provide them proper facilities, infrastructure, etc., etc. Yes, to the people living in the kingdom. Just like that, in the today time, government charge taxes as a source of revenue they collect from the public in the territory, and in return of this revenue government provide facilities, say for example defense, provision of education, healthcare facilities like road, dam, infrastructure, etc., which are a type of expenses for the government. Yes, in short, this revenue is being made as an expenses by the government for providing facilities to the common public living inside the territory. Yes, this is all about the word tax. Now, coming towards one thing, any act need a legal validity under India. Any act needs a legal validity, and the legal validity is given by the Constitution of India. So we are going towards one article of the Constitution of India, that is article number 265. Article number 265 says that no tax shall be levied or collected except by authority of law. So we will analyze this article first. No tax. The word tax itself has tax, surcharge, cess, everything in it. Yes, everything in the one word. Shall be levied or collected. Levy means to levy tax on a particular person and collect tax from that person. And this levy and collection should be done only by the authority of law. Only by the authority of law. Now, first of all, we'll see the word law. The word law has five things in it. The word law has five things in it. Number one, acts. Number two, rules. Three, notification. Four, circulars. And five, case laws. Now, act. When we are studying the GST, we have to study it in five acts: CGST Act, IGST Act, SGST Act, UTGST Act, and GST Compensation Cess Act. Again, with this act, there are some rules that we have to make an understanding of for a proper study of the act. Again, CGST rule, IGST rule, HGST rule, and UTGST rules. After that comes then important word notifications. From this word notifications, you may having a image of mobile having notifications on it. See the mobile. On your mobile, there is written one new message as a notification. It means notification is a type of a process in which new things come in front of you. We can say it as changes, amendments in law. So the changes and amendments in law are given through notifications in the official gazette. Yes. Next term comes the circulars. Circular means the clarification issued by the government in the official gazette on any provisions which are say a type of confusing provisions which are having a multiple meanings. The taxpayer is not knowing on which product or taxpayer this provision applies. Such things are being clarified by way of circulars in the official gazette. Now the last one, case laws. Case laws are the judgment made by the Supreme Court and the High Court in any disputes or any cases code for in which the provisions of tax are involved. Sometimes it may happen that the judgment of the Supreme Court and the High Court may overrule the provisions of the act. Yes. So in that things, in such type of situation, case laws will prevail. So all things together makes the law. The five things together make the law. Now, under the law, the authority should be there to levy and collect the taxes. Now see how the authority is being distributed. It is distributed under Article 246 of the Constitution of India, 7th schedule. Article 246 of the Constitution of India, 7th schedule. What this schedule says? An authority being union list, state list, and concurrent list. Union list is the list of the things in which the responsibility to make central government. State list is the list in which the responsibilities to make law is given to the state government. And concurrent list is the list in which the responsibility to make laws is given both to the state government and the central government. So this is how the authority is being given for levy and collection of tax in India by the Constitution, Article number 265 of the Constitution of India. Now, this is all about the authority. Now, coming towards the description of the word tax, it is being distributed in two parts, direct tax and indirect tax. In case of indirect tax, there is an example of income tax. In case of indirect tax, there is an example of GST and customs. Direct tax, like income tax, the burden wholly is being borne by the person earning the income. There is no shift of burden. The person earning the income is liable to pay tax on his income. It means there is a directly bears the incidence of tax. The person directly bears the incidence of tax. Now, after there is the term indirect tax. In this, the incidence of tax is being shifted from producer to the consumer. See here how the producer is being shifting the burden of tax to the final consumer. So there is a shift of burden of tax, but in direct tax there is no shift of burden of tax. Again, one more thing of differentiation between these two terms: progressive in nature and regressive in nature. Progressive means as your income will increase, your tax amount will also increase. Your income decreases, tax amount also decreases. And in indirect tax, in the case of indirect taxes, no matter whether you are rich or poor, everybody is going to pay the same amount of tax. There is an example of indirect tax also. So when you go to a store and purchase any type of goods, there is written in the MRP itself inclusive of all taxes. So, for example, the tax amount, the MRP is rupees 10. In this 10 rupees, there will be the tax amount inclusive of all taxes. So, when you are going to purchase this 10 rupees packet, either rich, either poor, both have to pay the amount of tax which is involved in this amount. Yes. This is all about the two terms, direct tax, indirect tax. Now coming towards the features of indirect taxes. What are the features of indirect taxes? Number one, it is an important source of revenue to the government. It is an important source of revenue government. Again, I will repeat the example. When anybody is going to a store to purchase any goods or any type of services, either rich or poor, everybody has to pay the tax. Yes, everybody has to pay the tax. It means there is no bifurcation. Whether you are having a low income, whether you are having a high income, everybody is going to bear the tax. That's why it is an important source of revenue to the government as compared with the direct tax. Here, point number two, tax is levied on commodities and services. Tax is levied on commodities and services. Yes. Shifting of burden. Yes, we have seen it is the basic nature of an indirect tax, that the burden of tax is being shifted from producer to the final consumer. Inflationary in nature. Inflationary, how it can be inflationary? See, the indirect tax is directly linked with the price. Is directly linked with the price. When you increase the indirect tax rates, when you increase the indirect tax rates, ultimately the price of the product is going to increase. That's why it is an inflationary in nature. It has a wider tax base. It has a wider tax base. Wider tax base. See, indirect taxes comprises of tax on commodities and services. And when you see the commodities and services, there are number of commodities and services prevailing in the society. Yes. So it has a wider tax base. No perception of direct pinch. Can you trace the amount of tax involved in that MRP of rupees 10? In this MRP of rupees 10, can you directly pinch the amount of tax involved? Can you calculate how much tax you are paying? No, you cannot calculate it. That is called as no perception of direct pinch. No perception of direct pinch. Regressive nature, this term we have already discussed. Now, genesis of GST in India. It is a history how GST came in India. See, this history start in the year 2000. In the year 2000, the then Prime Minister Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee introduced the concept of GST and set up a committee to design a GST model for India. In the year 2000. Yes, in the year 2000, they set up a committee to design a GST model on India, and the committee in the budget 2006-7 announced that GST will be in effect in India from 1st of April 2010. In 2006 this was happened, but 2010 also GST was not active in India. After that, in 2014, the Constitution Amendment Bill was introduced in the Lok Sabha, and that was passed in August 2016. The bill was introduced, and once the bill passed, it becomes an act. So the Constitution 101 Amendment Act was enacted in August 2016. After that, GST Council was formed, and the first meeting of GST Council was held in September 2016. Yes, remember it. The first meeting of GST Council September 2016, and after that in March 2016, a bill was introduced by the way of CGST, SGST, IGST, UTGST and compensation cess. This bill was introduced in the parliament, and after assent of the president, the bill, when passed in the parliament, Lok Sabha, it becomes an act. So in April 2016, when this bill passed, it become an act. CGST, IGST, UTGST Act, SGST Act with Compensation Cess Act. In June 2017, in June 2017, all the states except Jammu and Kashmir passed the SGST Act. All the states except Jammu and Kashmir passed the SGST Act, and that's how on 1st July 2017 GST was launched in India except Jammu and Kashmir. After that, on 8th July 2017, Jammu and Kashmir also passed the SGST Act, and it was termed as GST was launched in India including Jammu and Kashmir. So this was all about the history of GST in India from the year 2000 to the year 2017. This was all about GST. Now, why there was a need for GST in India? Why? The earlier taxes, indirect tax laws were not sufficient to earn proper revenue to the government, or there were any problem. This were the problem in the earlier indirect tax structures that gave a need for GST in India. Now we can see the things. Several local taxes were levied in the state, such as luxury tax, entertainment tax, etc., which were not subsum, not equal. It means once you have paid the tax, you have to pay it. Unnecessary taxes would make the price of a product or service more and more. So this was the thing. Local taxes were levied. No SENVET after manufacturing stage. If there was no SENVET after manufacturing stage, the manufacturer will not the credit of the tax paid. Yes, he will not get the credit of the tax paid. So the credit was lapsed. Once you pay the tax, you cannot shift the burden. How it will be an indirect tax? Non-integration of VAT and service tax. Service tax was different, VAT was different, and differently you have to pay service. Any things of any sale of any goods which involves service also, you have to pay different tax on the service and different tax on the goods. So double taxation on a one particular part of supply, that was a problem. Cascading of tax means tax on tax, tax on tax. Once you pay the tax, again you have to calculate tax on the value also and the tax portion also. So no issue when you are calculating tax on the value, but there was a problem when you calculate tax on the tax portion. So it was tax on tax. Double taxation. Once a product is taxed in a particular state, again that product when transported to the another state, again other tax levies were on put on that product. Yes, so a single commodity or service was passing through many taxes. Double taxation. Unnecessary taxation will increase the price of a commodity or service and will make it a inflationary product. Yes, so this all were the problems we are facing in the earlier tax structures, indirect tax structures, that gave a need to form one tax, that is GST. And to form this, we subsumed many central and state taxes. You can see central sales tax, service tax, luxury tax, surcharges, central excise duty, additional excise duty, CVD, special CVD, entry tax, VAT, sales tax, entertainment tax, etc. etc. This all taxes were subsum to form only one tax, that is GST. That's why it is one nation, one tax. That is it is a one nation and one tax. Though we subsum this much of taxes to form one tax GST, some taxes were not subsumed under GST. It means today also with GST, these taxes are prevailing. With the GST, these taxes are prevailing. See, what are these taxes? Property tax, stamp duty, electricity duty, excise on alcohol, basic custom duty, excise on petrol. These are some of the taxes which are also prevailing today along with GST. Yes. So remember these things. Now, features of GST in India. Features of GST India. GST is a value added tax levied on supply of goods and services. Yes, again I will tell you, GST is a value added tax. It means it is levied on the value addition at each and every stage of the supply chain. Say from manufacturer, the product is going to the wholesaler. The wholesaler is going to add his margin. It means what value addition is being given on that product by the another value supply chain or facility provider, that will be the taxable value. Yes, so GST is levied on the value addition done at each and every stage of the supply chain. Since only the value added at each stage is under tax under GST, there is no cascading of tax. Again in GST there will be no tax on tax, no tax on tax. Burden borne by the final consumer. Yes, producer shift the burden to the final consumer. Continuous chain of tax credits. At in each and every chain of the supply chain, you are going to have tax credits, which tax credit. When you have a credit, the tax is being shifted from one place to another in the supply chain. Uniform tax structure all over India. Wherever you go, wherever in whichever state you want to deal, you will find a uniform tax structure. No need of now studying different tax structure with the different states. Everywhere you are going to get a uniform tax structure in India. Next, now see the structure of GST in India. What is the structure of GST in India? GST in India comprises of CGST, SGST, UTGST, IGST. Single legislation for each stage and every acts with uniform future. Though there are different acts, but all the acts have a single legislation and all the acts have a uniform feature. Every supplier of goods and services obtain is required to obtain registration in the state unitary. There is also provision of registration under the Act Common GST Electronic Portal. Now, what happened in the earlier indirect taxes acts? There used to be different tax structures in every states and accordingly different website for every tax structure. Yes. Now, as we are levying a single tax structure all over India, so there is a single website, there is a single portal on which you can visit and pay the tax there, file the return there, you can have the information there, and also there is a common shared IT infrastructure between central and state government. So there should be a proper transparency between these two. They should know how much tax is being collected and how much tax is being distributed. Also under this GST Act, you are going to get some composition levy exemption portion, which will give more beneficial areas to the small taxpayers. Compensation cess is also there. See, in the earlier tax structures of indirect taxes, states were having a good revenue generation. Because of GST, their revenue generation became a somewhat portion of loss. So, to compensate that loss in GST, compensation cess is levied to the supplies, which will compensate the loss of revenue of the states. Now in India, there is dual GST model, that is central and state. Classification of services and classification of goods is being done by HSN code. This is a unique feature of GST in which there are HSN code for every type of goods and every types of services being classified. So in GST through HSN code, the classification is properly done of services and goods by a coding system. So this is all about GST. Now we'll see some articles of Constitution of India. First of all, article number 245. Article number 245 gives the authority or the power to the parliament to make laws, highlighting the word make laws, gives parliament the power to make laws for whole of India or any part of India, and gives the power to the legislature, means the state government, to make laws subject to any part of the state or whole of that state. Yes. So central government has been given the power to make laws for the whole of India or any part of India, or state government for the whole of state or any part of state under article 245. Now Article 246A. Article 246A1, A2. A1 gives the power to the legislature, means the state government, to make laws regarding GST with respect to GST. Yes, to make laws with respect to GST. And 246A2 gives the power to the parliament to make exclusive power to make laws with respect to GST in the course of interstate trade or commerce. There are two words, interstate and intrastate. In case of interstate, to make laws regarding with respect to GST, power is given to the parliament, and in case of intrastate, to make laws with respect to GST, power is given to the state government legislature. Now again, 269A, Article 269A gives the power to the central government to levy and collect tax on interstate trade or commerce. On interstate trade or commerce, including the imports, central government has the power to levy and collect the taxes. Yes. Next, 279A. Article 279A gives the power to the president to constitute a joint form by the name GST Council. Yes. So, using this power, president constituted the GST Council. Next, Article 366.12a. Article 366.12a is the important core area in GST, which gives the way on which the proper way, the taxable event under GST. GST can be levied on supply. GST can be levied on supply of all goods or services except alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Except alcoholic liquor for human consumption, GST is levied on the word supply of what? All goods and services. Next, 366.26a, service means anything other than goods, and 366.26b, state includes union territory with legislature. Where the word state will come, state means state also and union territory also. Now coming towards GST Council. Now first of all, see the constitution of GST Council. In Finance Minister of India is the chairman of this council, along with Minister in charge of Finance as the members nominated by each state. This will be the representative member of each state from the side of the state. Yes, with union territories with legislature are its member. Beside, union minister of state in charge of revenue are also its minister, and also sorry members are also its member. So first of all, the union finance minister is the chairman. Again, we are going to have some members from the representative of the state. Again, we are going to have some members, we are representing the union government in each and every states. So this is how the GST council is being formed. Now, how the decisions are made in GST Council is taken by a majority of not less than 3/4 of the weighted votes of the members present in the meeting. Now, see here, for a particular decision in GST Council, the majority is 3/4 of the total votes present in the meeting. 3/4, and among this 3/4, 1/3 should be of central and 2/3 of the state. Then any decision will be passed in the meeting. Otherwise, no. Now, what are the functions of GST Council? To make recommendation to union and the state on important issues, like make a recommendation. See the word recommendation. So the council is going to only recommend the central and the state about the issues like tax rates, about the issues like tax rates, exemption, threshold limit, dispute resolution, etc. And also recommend the future date on which GST levied on petroleum, high speed, diesel, motor spirit, natural gas, aviation turbine, fuel. It means GST Council is going to only recommend the issues, important issues like what should be the tax rates, on what product exemption should be there, what should be the threshold limits, etc. etc. And also recommend a further date on which GST will be levied on petroleum and petroleum products. So these are the functions of GST Council. Also, GST Council will recommend a special category of states. As of now, special category of states recommended by GST Council are this in front of you. You can read it. Sir, we have to learn this state? Yes. How can we learn it? Any short story created on this? Yes. Munna. See the word Munna, M-U-N-A, Munna, has booked his ticket on MMT for Jammu and Kashmir. Munna has, two words, Munna has. Third word, MNT for fourth word, Jammu and Kashmir. So through this you can learn the all special category of state. Now talking about something, union territory without state legislature or union territory with state legislature. Means when we are talking about any union territory, what should be levied, which act should be prevailing on that union territory, UTGST Act or SGST Act? Of course sir, UTGST Act. But there are some union territories, though they are union territory, but SGST Act will prevail. These are this three union territories: Delhi, Puducherry, and Jammu and Kashmir. Although these are union territory, but on this three, SGST Act will prevail. Yes, not UTGST, and on the remaining one, UTGST Act will prevail. So these are the things. Now, next term, seamless flow of credit. See how credit structure is going to seamlessly flow under the GST. For example, this is a person, Mr. A. Now what is doing? He is doing a type of intrastate supply. Intrastate within the same state. Intrastate within the same state. Now under this intrastate supply, he is supplying, say, a goods of value 1 lakh rupees to Mr. B, on which tax is as 9% CGST, 9% SGST. Yes. So it means calculate 9% on 1 lakh, it is 9,000, 9,000. Mr. A will sell the goods to Mr. B, collect tax from him, and will pay to the government tax collected tax collected. This 9,000 and 9,000 CGST and SGST collected from Mr. B will be paid to the government by Mr. A. One transaction is complete. Now, Mr. B is going to further supply to Mr. C. He is supplying the goods, say, for rupees 1,50,000. Say for rupees 1,50,000. As we have seen that in GST, tax is levied on value addition. Now, what is being value added here? This was 1 lakh, 1,50,000. 50,000 is the value addition. So, indirectly, tax should be levied on 50,000. Now, see how this been structured. Now, calculate the tax on 1,50,000 at the rate 9%, 9%. It will be 13,500. It will be 13,000 going to do. Now Mr. B has to collect 13,500 from Mr. C as tax amount. He will collect 13,500 from Mr. C. And how much he is going to pay the government? 13,500. But how? Already from this 13,500, Mr. B has paid 9,000 to the Mr. A, and Mr. A has submitted this to the government. So what Mr. B is going to tell to the government? From 13,500, I have already submitted 9,000. So what you are going to do? You are going to minus this 9,000, and the remaining balance 4,500 you are going to pay to the government. This is how there is a process of seamless flow of credit under the GST. Again, when Mr. C is going to further supply to Mr. D, in that case also Mr. C can take the credit of the tax paid to Mr. P. Got the point? Yes, this is called as seamless flow of credit. Again, in the case of interstate supply, IGST will be there. So, in case of interstate supply, Mr. A supplied goods to Mr. B for rupees 1 lakh. 18% IGST. It means 18,000 collected from Mr. B and paid to the government. Now, when Mr. B is going to further supply, what Mr. B is going to do? Mr. B is going to collect tax from Mr. C and going to subtract the amount already paid to Mr. A and which is being submitted to the government and take the credit. This is how a person can take a credit under GST. While taking credit, this point should be remembered. This point should be remembered. Yes. How can you utilize a credit? For example, inward supply, if you have paid CGST, so when you will collect the tax on outward supply, you can utilize this CGST credit against CGST and IGST. You cannot utilize again SGST. If you have collected CGST or IGST from the outward supply, then you can adjust this CGST on inward supply only against CGST and IGST, not against SGST. The same way, SGST credit can be utilized only against IGST and SGST, not CGST. And when you are talking about the credit of IGST, this can be utilized with CGST, IGST and SGST. This is the manner of utilization of ITC under the GST. Now, a short summary on which GST is leviable or not. We'll see this thing. Now, when we are talking about petroleum crude, high-speed diesel, motor spirit, natural gas, and aviation turbine fuel, petroleum and petroleum goods. When we are talking about these things, on these things, VAT and excise duty is being levied, but no GST is levied. There is no GST on this goods, only VAT and excise duty is being levied. Again, the same alcoholic liquor for human consumption, VAT and excise duty is levied, but no GST. Yes. When we are talking about tobacco and tobacco products at the manufacturing stage, both excise duty and GST is levied. Excise duty and GST is being levied. Here is an example also of this thing. Say for example, the value is of rupees 1 lakh. The value is of rupees 1 lakh and excise duty is levied is 10,000. Excise duty is levied is 10,000. Then GST is going to be calculated on the whole amount of 1 lakh 10,000. at the manufacturing stage. So this is all about tobacco and tobacco products. Next, narcotic drugs, opium, Indian hemp, and other narcotics, excise duty and GST, and other goods and services, only GST. Only GST. This is a summary of levy of different goods under the GST. So this is how we completed the introduction chapter of GST. Now further videos will be there of other topics. For that, to be updated and notified, you may subscribe our channel so that we can notify you for the more videos of another topics, revision videos, some theory chapter videos, etc, etc, practical questions, etc. And also like the video, subscribe the channel, and meet you in the next video. Up till that, bye bye. Hello students, I am here with the good announcement for you. We are starting our regular batches of CA Intermediate Taxation from 21st of September and CA Foundation all subject batches from 25th of September. And one word I want to tell you regarding this batches is that this batches will be in 100% English language. Yes, 100% English language, no English, no Hindi, only 100% English language. 100% English language. And for further inquiries of early bird discount, shocking prices, and the demo videos, and further details of these batches, you may contact on the given number. Yes, so all of you, bye bye, meet you in the regular batches.